I sat there in the dim glow of my phone screen, the cake I'd baked myself growing cold on the kitchen table. It was my 68th birthday, and the house was silent, no calls, no visits, just the tick of the old clock on the wall. Then, a notification popped up from Facebook. My daughter-in-law, Sarah, had posted a photo of her and my son Michael at some fancy dinner. The caption hit me like a slap, celebrating without the old hag tonight. Her last day dragging us down. My heart stopped. How could she, after everything I'd done? I stared at those words, feeling the world tilt, but that was the moment the fog lifted. I wasn't going to fade away quietly. No, this old hag was about to rise. Stick around, because what I did next changed everything, and it might just change how you see your own family. The rain pattered against the window like tiny accusations as I wiped the flour from my hands that evening. I had spent the afternoon baking that chocolate cake, the one with the walnuts Michael used to love as a boy. The kitchen smelled of vanilla and warmth, a scent that clung to my apron like a forgotten hug. But no one came. I folded the laundry. Next, the soft cotton of his old shirts I'd mended so many times, stacking them neatly in the basket. The floor was cold under my bare feet. Linoleum worn from years of pacing, waiting for calls that never came, for visits that grew rarer. Outside, snow dusted the garden I'd tended all summer, the roses I'd planted now brittle and bowed under the weight. I sipped my tea, the steam curling up like whispers of what used to be, and scrolled through my phone again, hoping maybe it was a mistake. But there it was, Sarah's post, liked by a few of their friends, laughter emojis. My chest tightened. A familiar ache, but this time it burned hotter. I remember the day Michael was born. That stormy April morning in 1985, he came into the world screaming, tiny fists waving like he owned it already. I worked 2 jobs back then, waitressing at the diner and sewing alterations at night to pay for his clothes, his school supplies, his dreams. "Mom, I want to be an engineer," he'd say, eyes wide over his cereal bowl. So I scraped together every penny, skipping my own meals sometimes, to send him to college. I'd sit at the kitchen table late into the night, bills spread out like a puzzle, figuring out how to make ends meet. When he met Sarah in his junior year, I welcomed her like a daughter, knitting her a scarf for Christmas, helping them with the down payment on their first house. "Your family now," I told her, handing over the check for $20,000, my life savings. Really, they promised to pay it back. Tomorrow, they said. Tomorrow never came. And the grandkids, little Emma and Jakai, babysat them every weekend. Pure joy in their laughter as we baked cookies together, flour dusting their noses. I'd drive hours to their school plays, cheering louder than anyone. But slowly, it shifted. Sarah started canceling plans. "We're busy, Evelyn, you understand?" Michael stopped calling. "Work's crazy, Mom." Their warmth cooled, like a fire left you intent. It wasn't sudden. This betrayal that crept in like mold on the walls. First, small things. Sarah rolling her eyes when I offered advice on raising the kids. "Times have changed, old lady," she'd mutter under her breath. Then, bigger slights. Last Christmas, they forgot to invite me, saying the house was too small. I spent it alone, eating turkey from a TV dinner, the tree lights blurring through my tears. Michael asked for more money a few months back for a new car, he said. I gave it, dipping into my retirement fund, but when I got sick with pneumonia last winter, no one came. "We'll visit soon," he texted. The house echoed with silence. The phone's ring a ghost. Sarah's posts on social media grew bolder, subtle digs about needy in-laws draining the family. And Michael, he'd defend her. "Mom, you're overreacting. She's just stressed." Gaslighting, they call it now. It made me doubt myself, question if my love had been too much, too smothering. But deep down, I knew I'd given my all, and they'd taken it as entitlement. The house we'd shared after my husband died, now they eyed it like property, hinting I should sign it over early. "For the kids' future," Sarah said sweetly, her smile sharp as a knife. That birthday night, as I stared at the screen, something cracked inside me, not my heart, but the chains I'd wrapped around it. Enough. The word echoed in my mind, clear as a bell. I wasn't the frail old woman they painted me to be. I was Evelyn Harper, who'd raised a son alone, built a life from scraps. My hands, wrinkled but steady, clenched the phone. No more tomorrows. I realized their love had strings, pulled tight for control. It hurt. Oh, it did, like a wound reopening, but in that pain came clarity. I deserved better. We all do that. The next morning, I moved quietly, like a shadow reclaiming the light. I called my lawyer first, the one I'd known since high school. Change the will, I said, voice firm. Everything, the house's savings. The antique necklace my mother gave me when to charity, and a distant niece who'd actually checked in. No drama, just papers signed, sealed in a folder on my desk. Then, the locks. The hardware store clerk raised an eyebrow as I bought new deadbolts, but I installed them myself. The drills whined a satisfying roar. I canceled the joint bank account they'd been dipping into, transferred funds to my name alone, and the house deed. I put it in a trust, untouchable. It felt shocking, these silent acts, cutting ties, without a word, but justified, absolutely. Each step lifted a weight, like shedding old skin. I packed a small bag, nothing fancy, and booked a ticket to the coast, where I'd always dreamed of retiring alone. They came that evening, pounding on the door like thunder. Michael, first, face red. Mom, open up. What's going on? Sarah behind him, arms crossed. This is ridiculous. You're acting crazy. I opened the door a crack, chains still latched. What do you want? My voice was calm, cold as the snow outside. The money's gone. The will, how could you? Michael sputtered, shifting. Blame, we needed it. After all we've done for you. Sarah chimed in, voice dripping manipulation. You're just bitter because we're happy. Think of the grandkids. I looked them in the eyes. I've thought of myself too. Goodbye. I shut the door, their protests fading like echoes. Nah. I sit by the ocean, waves crashing in rhythmic peace, the sun rising golden over the horizon. The necklace hangs around my neck, a symbol of love, reclaimed from myself. The house is sold, proceeds funding this new life, walks on the beach, gardening, in fresh soil, flowers blooming where none grew before, an empty chair at my table, but it's mine now, filled with quiet dignity. Loneliness, it visits, but so does freedom. I've learned this: sacrifice without boundaries breeds betrayal. Set them early, hold your worth high. Karma whispers justice. In the wind, let go of those who drag you down and watch yourself soar. If you're listening, dear one, remember, your heart is precious. Guard it well.